Royal Caribbean's newly amplified ship, Freedom of the Seas, set sail from San Juan, Puerto Rico last month. This revolutionary ship has received a number of new upgrades and enhancements during its recent $100 million revitalization. The Princess and I were lucky enough to get on the first sailing, and we want to share all the details with you. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com, and we put together our complete Freedom of the Seas Southern Caribbean cruise review. Boarding in San Juan, Puerto Rico was smooth and effortless. As this was the first cruise on the ship, there was no waiting when we arrived to the port around 10:30 a.m. Even with the enhanced health screenings, including a non-invasive temperature check, we walked onto the ship within 15 minutes of arrival. At each of our ports of call, getting on and off the ship was equally as easy. All security procedures were efficient, and we were never encountered more than a short line to exit or return to the ship. Given the national health crisis, we had a change of disembarkation port to Miami, Florida. This made the disembarkation process on Tuesday a bit convoluted, taking close to 1.5 hours to get from the ship to our airport shuttle. We love the new Caribbean pool deck found on Navigator of the Seas. Happily, the redesigned Freedom of the Seas also has this vibrant layout and feel. The new casitas and comfy chairs and sofas were also a welcomed addition. Although the pool deck did feel exceptionally crowded, with chairs stacked very close to each other. The loungers were also close to the pools and walkways, making it difficult to navigate the areas at peak times. Also, unless you were claiming deck chairs before 8 a.m., you were left with slim pickings during our cruise. This was especially true in the solarium. In contrast, the new splashaway bay for the little ones is massive. It certainly dwarfs the Aqua Park on Mariner of the Seas or Navigator of the Seas. There were fewer children on our cruise than we would typically find in the summer, so it never seemed really busy. Honestly, we did not use many of the sports deck's offerings, given the port-intensive itinerary. There was a full-size basketball court and a rock climbing wall. These areas felt underutilized during our cruise. The Flow Rider and the two new Perfect Storm water slides provided more options for those looking for activity outdoors. Relocating the mini golf course to Deck 13 forward provided some much appreciated extra space. Though the jogging track on Deck 12 was tight, giving runners and walkers little room to comfortably share the path. For the most part, the cruise delivered what we have come to anticipate from a Royal Caribbean cruise when it comes to service. Our waiter Raphael provided reliable and friendly service, and our barista Donald was another happy team member who always greeted us with a smile along with our morning coffee. At other venues throughout the ship, the service varied from pleasant to indifferent. Of course, we know how hard the staff work, especially with the current global situation, so we always give them the benefit of the doubt. Still, we never waited long at bars, restaurants, or the main dining room. Crew were constantly sanitizing areas and assisting cruisers during a time of uncertainty. So, what they might have lacked in personality, they more than made up for in promptness and attention to detail. This 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise on Freedom of the Seas was port-intensive, with 4 long days ashore. The cruise director Elvis and the activity staff offered what felt like a slimmed-down version of the typical daytime activities. Yet, there were still popular things like the belly flop contest and the World's Sexiest Man contest, as well as some poolside games. There were also other organized events like trivia, dance classes, laser tag, and upcharge activities like wine tastings, cocktail classes, and bingo. Given the beautiful weather, we were more than content just relaxing poolside during our sea days. Though, when compared to our most recent cruise on Carnival Panorama, the cruisers seemed less engaged and the activity staff less lively. For the original 7 nights of our cruise, we dined in the main dining room for 5 of those nights. We opted for traditional dining at 6 p.m. with a requested table for 2. Our waitstaff provided reliable and prompt service even if we did not always arrive on time. We were a bit disappointed in the bar service during dinner, however. We were lucky to get 1 drink as the staff appeared to be serving large sections of the main dining room. Honestly, the food was slightly disappointing for a Royal Caribbean cruise ship as well. The dinner menus offered some departures from what we were used to on other ships, leaving the Princess with limited choices. Menu highlights include the lamb shank and broiled lobster tail. For this trip, we pre-booked a dinner for the first fall night at the new Giovanni's Italian Kitchen. As part of our booking, we also received a free specialty dining credit that we used at Chop's Grill on night 5. Giovanni's delivered a fabulous meal and an overall dining experience. In fact, we decided to return again on night 9 given the extended length of our cruise. Among our favorites for the starters were the truffle caprese salad with rich and creamy burrata and the Giovanni's pizza. For entrees, we sampled the chicken parm, the awesome bocco, and 2 of the pasta selections, which all received our seal of approval. The desserts were equally tasty, including the traditional style tiramisu, as well as the massive cannolis. Our dinner at Chop's was one of our better experiences at this Royal Caribbean staple. My ribeye was flavorful and perfectly seared to a medium temperature. The crab cake had a lighter consistency and was better than previous versions. The side dishes, including the sauteed mushrooms and the truffle french fries, were ideal accompaniments to the main course. While the princess chicken and our desserts were pretty average, it was an overall solid experience. During the amplification, Royal Caribbean added El Loco Fresh to Freedom of the Seas. Open for lunch and afternoon snacks, this casual poolside venue is one of our favorite dining spots on Royal Caribbean ships. Unfortunately, this venue was really the only bright spot when it came to casual dining. Given that we are normally not huge fans of the Windjammer, and given the current health situation, we only dined at the buffet once for breakfast. It was pretty standard. The other complimentary casual spots were the 24-hour Cafe Promenade and Sorrento's Pizza. The ship certainly could have benefited from a park cafe or a doghouse to add more variety. Of course, there are upcharge venues for lunch like Johnny Rockets and Playmakers for other options. Freedom of the Seas does not have a Broadway show, so during our cruise there were 2 production shows featuring the Royal Caribbean singers and dancers. The first show, Marquee, felt very dated. The second show was a standard on Royal Caribbean ships, Once Upon a Time. While we have seen the show several times, we both enjoyed this performance. In addition, in the main theater there were 2 comedians and 2 headliners. Among the headliners was a cappella group, Mosaic. This is at least our 4th time that we've seen these talented performers. This is a show you do not want to miss. Throughout the ship, there are other activities like music trivia in the Schooner Bar, karaoke, and the Hush Silent Party. There are also game shows like Love and Marriage, Finish That Lyric, the Liars Club, and of course the Crazy Quest. Not to mention, there's live music throughout the ship, the Latin band in Boleros, a pub guitarist in the Bull and Bear, and a piano player in the Schooner Bar. While we made the rounds to all the bars, these performers provided a nice backdrop to our drinks. The lineup of bars and lounges on Freedom of the Seas reads like a greatest hit of venues found on other ships throughout the fleet. Many of these venues feature signature menus. Our favorite indoor venue is the Resident Martini Bar and Piano Lounge, the Schooner Bar. It's home to 2 of our favorite cocktails on the ship, Lavender Daiquiri and the Sidecar. Other popular indoor venues include the Latin-themed Boleros, the R Bar, and the newly added Playmakers Sports Bar and Arcade. We really liked the location and open feel of this venue. In addition, the ship has updated its outdoor bars near the pool. With the amplification, the cruise line added the Lime and Coconut, a 2-story venue with a signature menu. Other bars like the Solarium Bar and Olive and Twist and the Star Lounge all offer the standard menu, which is organized by Spirit. We booked a guaranteed balcony with a super low rate from our travel agent. We lucked out with a Deck 6 balcony, room 6638. The stateroom was located on the second hump, giving us a larger balcony. The inside of the cabin was spacious, but you could tell the room had not been updated. It featured the older green color palette, and our furniture definitely showed signs of wear. The room did not receive any updates as far as technology either. There were no additional power outlets or USBs added. Royal Caribbean missed the opportunity to update the cabins to make them sleeker and more modern like the newer vessels. Still, we had plenty of storage space, and the bed provided the usual comfort. While there are still plenty of cruisers on the ship, we doubt that it was sailing at full capacity given the situation. For the most part, the cruise never felt crowded. There were small lines at popular venues at peak times, although we never waited more than a few minutes for items such as our morning coffee or a slice of pizza after returning from port. During the day, waitstaff were constantly circling the main pool decks to take your drink order. The same could be said about the main theater, although you did have to wake up early to claim a lounger if you wanted one right next to the main pools. However, there were usually plenty of seats on Deck 12 or the virtually empty Deck 13 forward if you wanted a quieter spot away from the crowds. The shows, nightly entertainment, and parties were moderately attended, so showing up 15 minutes early meant you could find seats without much issue. This 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise included 4 ports of call. Our first port of call was Aruba. Although we had already visited the island back in 2015, I convinced the wife to do an island tour. We partnered with ABC Tours Aruba for its ultimate island safari. This adventure has you in a safari-style vehicle, so you can have all the fun of off-roading without driving yourself. It was easy to find our tour provider in the small cruise terminal when we arrived in Aruba. We waited less than 10 minutes before we were shuttled off to the company's headquarters and divided into our different tours. After checking in, we were called to join one of the safari jeeps with our new family led by Uncle Johnny. For the next 9.5 hours, we trekked, bounced, swam, and photographed our way across the entire island. It was hands down one of the best tours we've ever done on a cruise. Also, he loved being our paparazzi and was happy to take pictures of all the guests at the different stops. We did not leave any inch of the island unexplored, visiting popular landmarks including the Aruba National Park, Baby Beach, and more. On our next trip to Aruba, we would certainly book another tour with this company. Our next port of call was Curacao, and you guessed it, it was another full day tour. This time was a beach hopping trek with Irie Tours. Our instructions for meeting the tour indicate we need to meet near the white tents. We were among some of the first cruisers to check in with our tour provider, so it gave us some time to snag videos and photos of the ship. Then, once everyone arrived, it was time to explore Curacao. We were escorted to a bright green and yellow bus, which would be our transportation for the day. Guided by Miguel, our West End beach hopping tour stopped at many of the island's better known locales. First, we visited the locals' preferred beach, Nip Beach, for about an hour. This was followed by a short stop at Turtle Beach for the opportunity to swim with turtles. Then we headed to Sheet Boca National Park for some fantastic views of the waves crashing along the rugged coast. Finally, our tour ended at Playa Porta Marie for a 2-hour beach break with a full-service restaurant and bar, as well as some wild pigs. Overall, Irie Tours provided a great day in Curacao, with the ideal weather making this a perfect day for beach hopping, even though we're not huge beach people. For our third stop in Bonaire, we booked a popular snorkeling tour with Woodwind Bonaire. This 3-hour tour had a meeting spot that was about a 5-minute walk from the ship. So once we were cleared that morning, we grabbed our gear and found the meeting spot, utilizing the easy to follow directions provided in our confirmation email. Waiting for a few other individuals to arrive at the meeting spot, we were all escorted to a nearby catamaran for a relaxing morning exploring the reefs off the coast of Klein Bonaire. Now, the princess doesn't snorkel, so I was the only one of the two of us to enjoy the 75 minutes of calm waters, while she was back on board the vessel on social media, learning about the craziness that was starting to unfold in the cruising world. The tour included onboard drinks and food as well as gear. I have to admit that the Woodwind Bonaire snorkeling tour was better organized and had more modern equipment than past snorkeling excursions that I have completed. This newer gear included updated fins, snorkeling masks, and even rash guards for those who did not want to get burned by the sun. For those who like to snorkel, Bonaire offers some of the best coral reefs, and Woodwind Bonaire did an amazing job during our morning tour. We would highly recommend this if you like to snorkel. Our last stop on day 7 was St. Thomas. Now, we've been to this island a few times and weren't sure what we want to do. Reviewing all the options through Royal Caribbean, we decided to book a beach break to St. John, knowing that of course if anything changed, we could always cancel it with the cruise line. With our shore excursion set to meet at 10:30 a.m., we were able to sleep in a little bit this morning. Being ahead of schedule, we got off the ship to grab some pictures and selfies near the cruise port area. However, it wasn't long before we could see our tour being escorted to the ferry. Thus, we began our beach day to St. John by boarding the Island Girl. Overall, the tour was well run, with the crew of the Island Girl providing plenty of commentary and humor, as well as drinks along the way. The beach at Trunk Bay was terrific, even if there was no shade to be found. Our excursion included access to snorkeling gear, which compared to what we had in Bonaire, felt very used and dated. Now, Trunk Bay is known for having an underwater snorkeling trail, with underwater information about the coral formations and the sea life. However, trying to follow the trail is quite difficult, and it appears that the trail has not been as well maintained. We hope that this is something that's updated in the future, as we really enjoyed Trunk Bay and would love to return again on another cruise. You did have to pay for things on Trunk Bay such as lounge chairs or other amenities. While we had a great time and thought the beach was beautiful, it was a 1.5 hour ferry ride round trip, leaving us only an hour and a half at the actual beach. We would have really liked more time to spend at Trunk Bay. And there you have it, that's our complete, amplified Freedom of the Seas Southern Caribbean Cruise Review. But of course, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comment section below if you've ever sailed on Freedom of the Seas and what your favorite feature is on this ship. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com, and if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, or you've been lurking around for a while and haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe down below and to click the notification icon. That way, you get updated each week when we put out brand new cruise and travel videos. You can also say hi to us all over social media at Eat Sleep Cruise, and thanks again for watching.